If I die, having never have published, hold on, this might my mood. There we go. If I die, never having published, but I'm a good person, whatever the fuck that means, I'll be happy. You know, I'd take a look at two prominent characters in my writing. Like prominent an understatement. When I started to read Bukowski, that's when I had accepted the free verse. It's when I'd understood that I can't just write, you know? It just instead of just like the men back in the day, the Miltons of the world, they would have had these like vocabularies which were just fucking. I don't have that, and that's not what my that's not what I'm made for, right? Like that's not my poetry. My prose, I think, is flowery as fuck. I get told sometimes that it's too flowery, right? And that's really, for a long time, that was my issue. Um, and I'm gonna get onto something in a second, which I really want to get onto. But you know, Bukowski, his free verse, his realness of it all, the vulgarity under authenticity, right? Like being vulgar for vulgar's sake isn't cool. If I whipped out my dick on camera right now, it just wouldn't be cool, right? It just wouldn't. It would serve nothing for no one. But what would be cool would be an authentic for authentic sake, being vulgar for vulgar's sake. But if vulgarity comes inside of authenticity, it's just a product of being authentic. It's just a product of being, right? I'm fat. Not fat, but I'm a little bit fat, right? And if I try to hide that, it's just not authentic. If I go on a date with a girl and I'm always sucking my stomach in, and she thinks, oh, he has abs, and that's the reason why she goes back on a second date, and that's the reason why now all of a sudden I've scarred her for life because I'm a cunt and I'm an asshole, and I make her feel emotions and then like sweep the rug from under her, all because I'm not authentic. Be authentic. That's the only thing you fucking got in this world. Sometimes I really do believe that, you know. Uh, but I have my whole underlay of what I do with that knowledge. I'm not authentic, and then I go and shag 12 prostitutes at once and down a bottle of whiskey. No, my authentic's my other shit. And that's kind of my point, right? Is this? Well, I think there's too much of an emphasis on living your life as an individual in the American sense of the word. In the American sense of the word, which brings up too much because it's like anybody is confused at that point because you can't just be like, go live your dreams under the American context, and now all of a sudden you're a German Muslim, and the cultures just work differently and you don't know what the fuck to do anymore, and like to me I question whether or not I'm allowed to go for this goal because I feel like we live in a world with an funny enough, I feel like we're catching up, as in my. I kind of want to skip the whole thought process of what I was going to develop and say. Basically, Bukowski and Steinbeck are both pieces of shit. They're both horrible people. Steinbeck did some crazy fucking horrible shit. Bukowski's the most like slobber knocker lad I've ever seen in my entire life. But fuck me, are they both, for lack of a better word, not even genius. I don't think the term genius is allowed to be applied anymore, especially not when you look in someone's real life. These people were able to write and they wrote well and they had a heart inside of that vulgarity. They had a heart. And when they tapped into that heart, that's when the art showed itself. That's what I believe. And I want to die with a good heart. I don't want to die having published 20 novels of just like Pulitzer, Booker, Nobel winning worthy stuff, and I'm the type of guy who's ripped out 12 wombs, I drink until I weep, and then I weep until I drink, and you know I've accidentally ran over 10 black men. I killed 3 Hispanics. Like, obviously they didn't do this shit, but you get my. I mean, Steinbeck did that to his first wife. It's horrible shit, right? I'm not gonna judge him because I think that was sort of a conclusion I had to make was I'm just like those guys. I'm fucking horrible. In the same vein as Steinbeck and Bukowski, I'm horrible. Just the only difference is I'm not published like they are. I'm not worshipped like they are. Or hated like they are. You know, I don't have the infamy of Satan. I don't have the infamy of Bukowski or Steinbeck. I'm just me. And I kind of just want to talk about this now. And I hope to God he watches it because I can say what I want without having any naga. You know, any... My uncle the other day, with a friend of his, started talking to me about what I should do with my life, what I should do with my time. Not so grandiose. He was just saying a couple of things about how I'm going to get a job after I do the masters. It's really, really corny in a way to start saying this and to start speaking this, but I don't care about what the world views as what an acceptable way of living is. Especially not now when it's developed, you know? When we seem to be going through different stages of what society deems acceptable, and we're definitely in a huge tumultuous time when it comes to that, right? Like, and I'm not saying anything negative here, genuinely. I'm saying back in the 1930s, if you were to dress up as a woman, cut your dick off, and have sex with men, you would be seen as an absolute lunatic, ostracized, probably murdered by a gang in the street. Nowadays, you might get a couple of arseholes, but it's so normal that those arseholes might even end up shagging you at the end of the night, right? Like, that's just probably what'll happen. The world has come a long way in its ethical conclusions, its moral conclusions. And I don't mean to say it's any conclusions as a smart ass. I mean the genuine are conclusions. Today when you walk up to the average Joe, they have a conclusory opinion and it's just done, right? And there's some things that I don't really care for and I let just go by my head, like the trans stuff. It's never my issue, you know, because I'm a straight guy and I'm a me, you know. I'm a biker guy. Like, I've got my. It's the reason why I'm not out there protesting Palestine because I'm. This is me, right? The biker war. This shit. This fucking. This is me. This is my mission. I've got my mission, so I'm not too concerned about other people's missions. But there is one thing that pisses me off in the current contemporary outlook, which my uncle shares, is that emphasis on the value of what work does to someone, what work and how that things like the way he spoke, right, was to me absolutely baffling because apparently with a master's degree, to him, there's a moral implication with that. There's a moral implication that a man has betterment, right? A possibility to do something better with his life. And I just disagree completely. There's people out there with doctorates who are just fucking cunts. You know, Steinbeck and Bukowski are the perfect representation. These guys, literal geniuses who are the definition of just a fucking arsewipe, right? And this is my thing. I don't feel like I fit into any category. I don't fit into the category of what my grades are. And I don't fit into the category of what his mindset is today. You know, this idea of me getting a good job from the master. Like, look, just so it's out there in the public and I'm allowed to be held accountable for the rest of my damn life, I intend to do nothing with my life besides be a published author, a writer as such, to create stories which are undeniable. That's my point. I don't care if I struggle. I don't care if I lose limbs. I don't care if I lose my livers. You know, livers. You know, I don't care if I literally lose my heart. I don't care if I die. I don't care if I die. In a way, I am a martyr, right? And this is the thing. He said something along those lines, and that pissed me off because it was like, why can't I be a martyr, right? And I'm not trying to say I am a martyr. I'm not trying to say I'm actually going to die for this thing. I want to say I will. I'm willing to die for this thing. If somebody came up to me right now with a gun to my head and said, you either have to renounce being a writer for the rest of your life or I'll kill you. Fucking shoot. Shoot, motherfucker, shoot! Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Because you can't take this dream away from me. You can't take this inner child. You can't take this love away from me. You just can't take it. You can't take it. And whatever the consequences are of me having this thing, greater men than I've had this thing, and they've died horrible deaths. I'm not going to die a horrible death. I'm in the circumstance right now where things can get really fucking bad for me. And I'd still be alive. Far beyond my expiration date. Because we have like medical fridges, you know? Medical fridges in this day and age, right? Well, you could have went off a week ago. But because you're in the right temperature, because you're in the right place in the right time, and they're pumping you with the right medicine, you can keep going. Granted, I could keep going. I could pump out the poem of all poems while I'm on my deathbed, you know? Not even that, I wouldn't even be on my deathbed. It's just, there's no martyrdom today. Well, that's not true, but you know what I mean. Like, in the general populace, in the fucking UK, I don't feel the martyrdom. I think people can have martyrdom for going on LGBT protests, right? Like, you'll die for the idea there. People will have contentions and you know, Palestine. You know, you look at Iran. You look at any Middle Eastern fucking country. You know, you look at anything that goes against the status quo in the government today. That's martyrdom. You know, originally martyrdom of Christian martyrs was from top down. It wasn't from the fact that, you know, we are believing in this thing. It's the fact that you find yourself in a position where the thing you hold a belief to has people with the power to kill you in a disenchantment. They don't give a fuck about your love for whatever it is. They just want to end your life because it's making them uncomfortable, right? In the same way that America's out here just pumping up fucking, you know, billions into Israel just so they can start gunning down some fucking lads on basically a strip of life. A strip, right? Genuinely for the longest time I couldn't give a fuck about Palestine. Couldn't give a fuck. Because the first church I went to was quite Zionist. You know? Was quite, but also wasn't. You know, there was a subtextual mindset, I think, at least in my interpretation, the way that I read it. But then, you know, life went on, and I went to this other church, and I slowly thought to myself, like, what the fuck am I thinking about Israel for? What the fuck am I thinking? What, you know, I have no ties to Israel. Christian or not. Like, me, as a person, what ties do I... So I was like, okay, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And I slowly sort of realised I had my mission, right? But, okay, I went all over the place with this. You know, and I see the martyrdom of today. And the martyrdom of today is just beautiful. You know, people have a love for what they have, and it's so rare, though. I'm not saying people have to be martyrs, but I'm not saying that I idolize myself from, like, you know, the Iranian people or the Palestinians or the gays of the world. I'm not saying that. I kind of go a step back. I'm looking more at the you know, I'm calling it the reign of terror, right? The big bad witch, Thatcher. I'm looking at the miners' strike. You know, I'm looking at my people. I have a people. I've got my people. You know, and I'm looking at that. And I was talking to some guy yesterday, and I don't know. It made me realize how little of my people there actually are out there, and the ones that are out there, like. This will serve to make the final point of what I'm trying to say. I am colonized. Which is a hilarious statement to say. Look at the colour of his skin. He's not colonized. Just to claim that because I'm British, I'm therefore British. To me, it just sounds ridiculous. I'm not a British citizen in my head. I don't get any benefit from being a British citizen. Somebody could say, well, what if they took away all your rights? What rights do I really have? You know, they could take away my freedom. I'm always on thin ice with my freedom. I've been kicked out of school. I've been nigh kicked out of university. I went, you know, I mean, I don't even want to tell anyone my backstory, but I went through that, right? Of no support. I don't know. In some ways, I can accept it because with my mom on widow's pension, like there's support there. But I was colonized. I look at who my culture was, right? I'm not British. You know, Geordie, even in of itself, is too big of a genre to classify me. You know, I'm from Byker. That's me. That one part is me. Sometimes, I can't say I'm from Newcastle because I don't feel it. I'm not from Heaton. I'm not from Jesmond. I'm not from Gossey. I'm not from Benton. I'm not from Denton. I'm not from any of these places. I'm not from Fenham. I'm not from these places. I can't tell you that that's my thing. I'm from this small, tiny place, right? I'm from Salinas Valley in Monterey, California. That's why I fucking love Steinbeck. You know? And if you look at that place, where I'm from is colonization. Where I'm from is industrialization. You know, you get all this early Byker. It's practically just farmland. The men come, it's farmland. But when you take farming away from something like the north, you know, and you replace it with that heavy industrial mining, that's when they put them terrace houses on, right? I know I'm skipping through history here, but that's when it's industrialized. That's when it's settled on, right? Like Columbus, I take to it like Columbus. When you put them terrace houses on there, I take to it like Columbus. Not the people themselves who live in the houses, but the overseers who chose that decision. They chose to make that the case. They chose to colonize that land and say, this is now, we're going to get money from these people when they work for us and do this. That's colonization. It's, in my eyes, slave labor. Slave labor with extra steps and a culture that makes you believe that you're not a slave because you're earning rewards for it. And that's not true. The early mining culture of Byker is slave labor. It's what it is. It's just a modern slave. And God bless those fucking poor bastards, because that's what they are. They're also beautiful, fucking incredible, soul-filled, heart-filled, fucking inspiring people. And then what happens? They make a community there. They get a sense of identity. They take it for themselves and they say, this is us. And what happens? The government come in, they say, oh, we can't have that. What are you talking about? Oh, no. And to me, no one's going to give a fuck. But I have to have passion like this. Nobody else has passion like this. Like the Nazis. And everybody fucking goes crazy when you hear the word, but like the Nazis, what do? They come in and they uproot the homes. Okay? And someone's going to say, what are you talking about? Old Byker compared to new Byker? That's not Nazi. Are you kidding? First of all, Thatcher takes away every ounce of work that even she and the government previous employed, right? Like, I understand. You go back to the 1300s, it's a very different system. But even then, was it George? I don't quite know, but I know there's early kings there. There was a second. These early kings, actually, I believe the second, he did a lot of visiting to Newcastle. But they work a lot for the Southerners, right? That's their thing. What are the Southerners now? It's the same thing. Parliament and the early king, it's the same thing. Cromwell, I'm sorry, your entire thing is fucked. Because practically all you've got is the same fucking dystopian regime down there in the way that you would have had in the time of all your kings. Obviously in his time it was a bit of a filthy fuck of a quest. There wasn't a true king. There was a maybe. You know? Like that's, you get far down enough in the lineage and it's a little bit, far too undecisive. But back to my point. I'm not beefing with Cromwell. You get into Byker and And that's it. The culture that's made for themselves, and the families that are there, and the people who are so close, with all their faults and flaws too, by the way. The government decides this is absolutely not the right time for this, that we don't want this. And Circa's photographs do serve as a uniquely beautiful stance in history, because you look at the fact that they're two Scandinavians that have an impact on that place, right? You know, we in Byker, this is why I can't ever claim to be a British or an English person. The Picts, the Picts, and you know, largely, well, no, it was before that time. You know, the Picts, they're living their life, and sometimes they'll come all the way this down south into Newcastle, you know, from their highlands, and you know, Hadrian comes up and he's like, "Fuck these bastards." So what does he do? He has to build that wall. Biker is a lot, like its entire fucking, like it means basically the wall, right? Practically what it means, and the fact that we have a wall there today, nobody's gonna feel that what I just said there in the same way I do, but it's gross. It's gross to the level of like post-industrial colonization is the Biker War. It's what it is. There are natives in this land. It is me. And there's many fucking others. There are natives in this land. And there's Hadrians. There are Hadrians who build the walls. And the fact that history has a history nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody gives a flying fuck. Not even in Newcastle. There's a history that there's two Scandinavians. One who builds a wall. The other who photographs the downfall of the families that had to leave to build that wall. You know, and you know, it's going to come to people's attention so often. Look at Trump in the wall, Trump in the wall. We as citizens of Newcastle, people from Byker, we're generations down the line now, to the point where we've lived with the wall and only the wall. I am one of those generations. I lived in a house that was just, as the wall ended, one Gordon Square, the wall ends there. And you got a little thing here, which was my playground as a kid. This is it. There's a generation that won't know a life before it. And if they do, it's just on screens and photos. And we were colonized. And now the culture that we have now post-colonization just goes to show exactly what the British do all the time. And the thing is, my uncle is he has heavy opinions on what it means to be like a British Empire. I hate it when he says that stuff. The British Empire, what they did was, come on, look at the opium that happened to China. It's the same thing here. It's the same thing here. You tear down our entire culture and you rebuild a wall around us, and inside that wall you plant drugs and you plant economic depravity and you plant depression, you plant alcoholism, you plant all this shit. We're colonized and we're disrupted and we're destroyed. You know, we're just like the people of China. We're just like the people of China, affected. We're just like the Indians, affected. We're just like the Native Americans, affected. But we don't know this. We don't know this because our skin is white. We don't know this because our skin is white and because we're told that we are majority. We're told that we have an impact in this way and that way. We are victims. We are victims. I am a victim. I'm never going to keep to that victim mindset. I'm going to let that victim mindset do one thing and one thing only. Inspire my art and write. That's what you have to do with a victim mentality. Not get you down, raise you up. Raise the people up. These people are victims. These people are all victims. The dealers on Cheviot Mount. You know who you are, Vinny. You know, the fucking... The poor bastards. The poor bastards who have to live on fucking Raby Street and have to live in that culture. The lads who are driving around on the motorbikes thinking that that's manly, that that's cool, that is not fucking manly. It is the disgrace. These kids on their mopeds, these lads selling, could be the greatest of artists. This is why I think I have survivor's guilt. Deep down, I really truly think I do. And it's something I don't think about or talk about because I found my passion. And I think that when I look at all these kids, they very well are, not could be, are the greatest artists of all time. This is what you people of the world have to recognize. These people are the greatest artists, better than you will ever be, better than I will ever be, better than anyone has ever been. Fuck Monet, fuck Picasso, fuck Van Gogh, fuck them all. Da Vinci, Michelangelo. These people are nothing in compared to these people. They would be if given the chance, if given the realization, if they would just accept that they're not meant to just overdose and fucking die and live a life of just pure depravity, of eating fucking walkers and, just fucking shit all day. They're the greatest artists of all time. But this is what I'm saying. We're not just, this is our thing. This is our thing that we're being roped into. It's like 1984, right? When you're told, quite simply, that you are this, you are that. We've been psyoped, right? We've been psyoped. When somebody wants to sit and come to people at Byker and say, vote restore, vote reform. Mind you, I'm not fucking voting Lib Dem, nor am I voting the fucking Tories, I'm not voting. Fuck Starmer, right? Fuck that whole regime. And I'm not fucking voting for those other regimes either. Because you're not going to come in and tell me, get to your former glory. What former glory? What former glory do the people of Byker have? What former glory? Listen to my voice. What former glory do we have? We have your industrialization. Okay? We have your effect. We have your corporations. We have your footprints. Your footprints in our land. Your tar. Your brick. All of it. It is the people that is the culture. It's the people that form what it truly means to be in that place. Not your wall. Not your wall. Not your Roman wall. We are the Picts. We are the Picts. But we just don't realize it. We're the Picts who have been conformed to believe they're Roman. I am not Roman. You will never catch me believing I'm Roman. And I'll say it now. To all the poor fuckers who truly believe that being British means something in this day and age, we can't go back to a time. Maybe you lot can down south. That's your claim to fame, right? Newcastle has only ever been a place that's been taken advantage of. People have to recognise this. It's been so much more too, but that's because of the complexity of the people in their lives there. The kings who have had say, the shit we had to do for wars, the stuff that we did to keep your houses warm, to keep your food cooked and in your belly. Not even we, those poor bastards who mined that corn, who are now dying, who are now going. Those generations, we won't know them. But all the stuff that they had, they were colonized, they were slave laborers, what do you think would happen if they said we're not going to work? As if, what would you think would happen if the American slaves said they weren't going to work? What would happen? It's already been documented with Thatcher and the miners' strike. What happens is the government dwindle you down and make you starve and make you suffer until you go back to their property. That's what it is. And that's what happened exactly to the miners. Until what happened? She just took the jobs away, tore down the houses. Fucking, there you go. Now you got a new wall over. And what then? What then when you've got that economic instability? What then when you have all them people out of jobs? What then when you have no jobs to even give, by the way? No jobs to even give. To replace with what? You get people who are just depressed, who are going out on the drink. And when they go out on the drink, and you leave those kids back at home, and then you introduce something like a bit of bud, and then you introduce a bit of hate, you introduce a bit of all these other drugs, right? And you just start to push that into your communities. My battery's running low. I'm not gonna end this. I'm gonna put the charger in. What do you think you have then? There's a reason why I have to like love and leave my uncle's philosophy on life, you know, because this is what I truly believe we are, and this is what I believe is a mindset that he sort of just will never understand. We'll never understand, although he's a product of it. He's a product of it, and he loves kings and queens. What kings and queens? Why do so many gay men love Diana? Why? You know, she may have been whatever you thought she was in your mind, but was she still not one of the people who held all of that power? Held all of that power, and you have none of it. You know, I think like what? Why do we have such a worship over kings that don't do anything for us? It's such a not even a well, it's such a colonial mindset, but it's also such a dangerous ancient colonial mindset. This is not an American mindset. This is not a British mind. This is a Roman colonial mindset. We're literally products of Roman colonization. You know, like the only reason why this castle is here is because of the Ponzalis, right? And the Novum Castellum. If I'm pronouncing both of those right, I don't think I am. But the castle and the new castle, well, the only reason we're here is because of fucking Hadrian. Because of Hadrian and because of William the Conqueror. The Gauls. We're here because of the fucking Europeans and the colonization that happens here. And our kings are fucking French, lad. Don't fucking tell me to fucking bow down to a king. I'm not bowing to you. Like, I'll bow maybe to Athelstan. Maybe to Alfred. But they're from Sussex. I'm not bowing to that. And the king of the Picts, you know, those kings, those Scottish kings. I don't know if I can bow to you either. I'll fight for you, but I don't know if I can bow for you. I don't know. Like, where do I? This is really just a young man's complaint of where he fits in the world, right? Because I am a writer and I have held to this view. I've said this Steinbeck and all sorts, but there's so much deep, rich, metaphorical, but also just true connection, right? And you look at the castle, you look at Newcastle, you look at Hadrian's Wall, you look at Byker Wall. You know, there's so much to be said. So there's so much substance in this place that goes over people's heads that I just don't understand. Because it's a party town, it's a student city, it's a fucking large industrial city, right? And the effects of that are crazy. And it's also just got people who are generations in deep, you know, lovers of money, lovers of flesh, lovers of greed. It's what we are. Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, the other day, I seen this woman I see all the time, who asks me for change, and her hands are so fucking black, I can't help but think, do you dig mud when you go home? No, because she doesn't have a home. She's homeless. And I look at her and she's fent walking. She's fucking fent walking across up the Northumberland Street. It's the most depressing thing I've ever seen, and everybody walks by. And everybody walks by, including me. What do? Nothing. And then I see some police later on. 20 minutes at the most after that. Maybe 30. And I finally go to them and I say, oh, did you see that lass up there? And the police has the fucking go. The fucking lips, mind you, the fucking lips to say some shit like, what lass? There's 10,000 up there. You're meant to protect me. You're meant to protect me. And you've got the attitude. I don't trust none of you. The police, I'm sorry. You wonder why all these fucking people from Byker don't trust the police. Fucking sit there and just continue taking it. And they fucking end up worshipping and trusting the dealers and all sorts. And why do you think we got that culture? Why do you think we've got that tribal culture like the ancient fucking Irish did with their family system? Why do you think we've got that tribal pigdom culture? Why do you think we have it now? That we don't fucking realise is that people just let things go over their fucking head. Why do you think we have that now? Because you lot always come with that fucking attitude. And I've had to call the police time and time again because I've had my brother come in the house and do some fucking crazy shit. Abusive madness. And I've had to call them because I didn't want to be the one to throw hands. Maybe I was too young, maybe I was too weak. I've had to call them up so many fucking times. Maybe then I've had good, maybe some goodness in them. Do I find it all the time? Absolutely not. And I just feel such a big distrust. Because if they've helped me, they've helped me. But have they helped others? No. The police don't help. And the thing is, that was the very words he said to us. I said, is there not what we can do? And he said, no. We are colonised. Then we're put to work. Then our culture's destroyed, so we can be put to work again under the conditions that they have more power over us. And all that their SS do, is serve to come in and take the ones out that are disrupting the status quo. Not to help. Not to help. This is why I have to respond to what my uncle says and the statements being made about oh, Corey, just get a good job and just live this life and live that life, and you know, you're wasting your life if you don't work this, work. No. I refuse. I refuse. I understand. I get it. I do. But none of my self-worth is in this. My self-worth is in what I can do with writing. And how I can respond to this. How I can tell people, no, we are just a product of your colonization. But you haven't got me. You'll never have me. The whole world, as recently revealed, is run by baby blood drinking, child rapist, fucking megalomaniac dickheads. Whole world. And all I have to do is work for 60 hours a week and give all of that money I make back into those people so that I can wake up and go work another 60-hour week. I have a personality. I have emotions. I have opinions. I have a life. I have family. I have passion. I have feelings. I get happy. I get sad. I'm a complex human being just as everybody else is, and I'm never going to be bogged down and put into a hole. I'm in danger, as is everyone. We're in danger of losing the individuality in conjunction with community. We're in danger of being stripped apart for who we are, in what we know, and the families we have, Our families are disrupted from the inside out. A lack of fatherhood, you know, the the inclusion of an abundance of drugs, an abundance of pleasure. I've heard more people recently talk about how much they dislike family and how much they love family. And that boggles me. I I don't know what to say. I genuinely am just ranting, but not to say I'm not going to work a job and live a life and I'm just going to be homeless, but you have to understand, I think, and this is what I believe, this is where I'm going to come from. In Also, yeah, yeah. Let's also talk about this, by the way. After the wall's up and after we've been living there a couple of years, what you then do is round up a war so you can make a what? Make a what? Blair, what did you get? Tony Blair, what did you get from that war? What did you get? Oh, no, you got something. Yeah, you got something. What did I get? What did I get? Huh? A dead dad. That's what I get. And what do you get? A little bit of this? I am a reactionary culture. I'm counterculture. I'm counter this. I'm counter everything. I'm counter everything. I'm a fucking pig to the Romans, you know? It's what I am. I'm okay with that. I'm counterculture. I'm counter everything. I'm an anarchist, probably. I'm a socialist, probably. I don't think about it too much, but that's probably what I am. In some ways, I'm probably a communist. Because I believe in the people. Mind you, there's some dickheads out there. I'm a communist, but I don't believe in the people. I don't believe the people are aware enough. I think if we had a revolution right now and we kicked that parliament out and the North ended up running the South, it would be fucked. Because there's still people in the North who are just fucking, you know. I'm not talking about your every average Joe. I'm not talking about the lass who lived just up there, right? Beautiful lass, by the way, 8 years old. She looked out there. She looked 40 the best. Yeah, 40. She's fine. She's fine. The lads who love their drugs, the lads who love their drink, the ladies who love shagging, the lads who love shagging, the people who love to just go out and serve up, the lass who was practically ODing on Fent, but the police couldn't help. There's a reason why we won't ever be a great community or a great culture anymore, because we don't have enough to stand alone. We as cities and towns plopped all around the northern England and even Scotland. We can't stand alone because our identity has been so intermingled with what it means to be a Londoner without the benefits of being a Londoner, you know? And in recent times, you've had people from East London and all sorts of other parts of London who are just in fucking disarray, right? Because even at that level, if you can say to me, you know, uphold all the values and stuff that London seems to uphold for the longest time, right? Especially with the monarchs and the parliamentary reign and the industrialization in the British Empire. You tell me to be a part of that when even the Londoners themselves don't get benefits from that. That, you know, even those people in that vicinity is in deep poverty, and these people don't have beneficial lives. So you want to bring your philosophy, your ethics, all the way up here to Newcastle, and say that I have to live by that? Okay, I don't remember the last time we were so dumb. Maybe always, right? I can't live by it. And there's a culture today, there's an outlook, there's a mindset that I just can't agree with. I just don't feel. So I think what I have to say is heartfelt, but also not yet harnessed. My value will never, ever, ever come from how well I serve the British Empire. And in a really twisted way, I am a martyr, as are the early Christian martyrs. Not in a religious sense. But what they did was they looked at that big old fucking powerhouse, them empires, and they said, look, I don't know how, if you know this or not, but like the way of your living, wrong, just dead wrong. Like it's shit. Like you can see it's shit, right? Like I don't know if you know this, but when you've got also, let's not even talk about the whole football clubs and the whole bread and circus. Let's not talk about that shit, will we? Because you know, it's not like Newcastle's probably the largest city in the world to ever been quenched by a coliseum of the modern day. We have to understand how fucking Romanly colonized we are. Like this is ridiculous. But you know, when there's all sorts of your um, marks on the street, right? Your Walker's crisps, your night cider, your too many, too many to even say in a video. It then becomes clear that your way of life doesn't work because you feed me plastics and these plastics go onto the streets and you don't even clean the street. Like no, none of it works. The government doesn't work. They don't give a fuck. They care about some level of status quo which gives them riches and comfortability. But when anyone in the boundaries of the wall, let them die, let them OD. And I mean, a big point of this was the fact that Priory Green, just opposite the church, which is in conjunction, just opposite, as in like adjacent. You know, you got the primary school, then you've got the church, then you've got Priory Green. Not too long ago, some kids were playing on there, and there was a lad who went over to a dead body, which he didn't know was dead. Maybe he was just sleeping, but he turned him over, and he was dead. And there was a needle coming out of his arm. That is what our culture is today. I don't know if you lot can quite get that because you don't really know. None of you are from here, and most people that I even talk to today don't even get that shit. Not my uncle. Not fuck who I don't know. I don't know who's expressed that the fact that we are struggling. I don't know. I don't know who's stressed the fact that we are dying. We are dying. Our dreams are dying. Our hopes dying. Our lives dying. Our cultures dying. We're all dying to just become radically fascist, racist for an empire that doesn't care about us. We shouldn't have any pride. By the way, like as politically, I'm probably like nicely centrally leaning, but more on right than I am left of the modern system, which I fucking despise. But there's nothing that I hate more than the far right. The far left, for example, the far left is reaction, is counter, is reformation. The far right, especially those who are Christian, stop brainwashing yourself. Just because they're gay doesn't mean they're wrong. I don't necessarily disagree with the socialists, but the far right is stuck in the mud. You've got your English flag here, your pint of Stella. I'm not gonna go and say that whole yiff yaff of like, oh well, you live in this, which is a this, which is a this. Your ancestors are probably this and that. Like, yeah, I get it. But I'm saying that there's no British pride for a different reason. I'm not just going to come at them and say, well, haha, you're not really English, are you? Like, that's no way to solve an issue. The far right, stuck in the mud in the current UK political climate. Restore what? You explain to me what you want to restore, and I'll hear you out. I'll genuinely hear you out, right, and I'll listen. I'll listen. And if your words don't include to help the people of Byker, not only the people of Byker, but the individual personnel succeed to recognize in themselves that they have a dream, they have a personality, they have a life, they have struggles, they have good, they have bad. To recognize the complexity of self and to allow themselves to gain consciousness of that complexity and to gain a step back and have some sort of mental clairvoyance of that complexity and the ability to then live and express oneself in the most clear fashion of what it means to express humanity, then I don't care what you're saying. I don't care. I don't care. Because there's a deep complexity of humanity in these places, in which people have to understand that they're not the drugs that they take, that they're not the buildings they live in, that they're not the carpets they have, that they're not the fucking walkers that they eat. They aren't ready salted crisps. You know? They're not a Morrison's. They can survive without a Morrison's. And you take away a Morrison's, what do you have? You have a Heron's. You can't survive without a Heron's. Right now you can't. Because it's all you can afford. It's all you've got. It's all you are. But you can survive. You can survive. I'm trying to speak as plain and as open, as distinguishable, understandable as possible. Show some love to these people. They're dying. They're dying and nobody's watching. Everybody, God bless everybody, keep looking at the people of Palestine. Keep looking at the Iranians. Keep looking at everyone. Keep looking at everyone. But please do not take your eyes away from your community. That is your part to play in the world, is your community. In my opinion, if you spend more time thinking about Palestine than you do your own street, than you do your own neighbours, than you do your own community and your own borough, you're wrong. You're in the wrong. You're in the wrong. Because you're not changing things. You're not changing things on the ground level to then change the things internationally. Don't think with too big of an international mindset that you're destroying your own community here. You can do two things at once, but don't put 100% into something that you can't change. Put 100% into something you can't change. Look, these it's a rant, right? It's a rant is what this is. But I have to make it a point that the life that my uncle is expressing that he wants me to live, right? He's expressed it for a little while, you know, since I was like 18, since we reconnected. I'm not going to live that life. I've already accepted it. I'm not going to live that life. I just can't live it. That life is the reason why my culture's lost. There's a reason why my people are lost. There's a reason why my people are killing themselves. There's a reason why my people don't even see themselves as human. Someone's coming in. Don't know who it is. My people are dying. My people are dying, and all the majority of people will think of them is the Americans won't give a fuck about them. The Americans don't give a fuck about them. The lads in California, I'm gonna have to pause it because I think he wants to come in. Door's locked there. Door's probably locked there if he doesn't have a key. Amazing. The people of California don't care about the people of Byker War. You know, and that's my point. I care. I can change it. I'm not going to change it by living a stereotypical sort of like, what's the right word? I feel like we're living in a different time that's not post-industrial, it's not capitalist, it's neo, but neo not even in the previous neos. We're living in like a neo-post, something. Where all these people of the left political leaning will, because I think, I don't know if the system's going to change for a while, so I think we're going to adopt that moniker for a while. They're going to look at the people of Byker as just like angry British men, because that's what they're being conformed to be. That's what they're being psyoped to be. In the same way that the men of the ghettos undergo all that violence, but if you take a man away from the ghettos in America and you give him the possibility, I'm telling you now, he'll be a great writer, he'll be a great actor, he'll be a great playwright. You know, like this is to me just, and I can't help the ghetto. I'm sorry, lads. I hate to fucking break to you, but like Detroit, lads, I can't help your ghetto. I can't. There's nothing I can do about your fucking ghetto. There's something I can do about mine. There's something you should do about yours. These people will die, and we will live in a world worse off, because we'll live in a world where these men and women and were never able to write a poem. If all these people were to write a poem, you don't know how much that means to me in my heart, right? Because a poem is such a form, it's a form of expression that someone's going to say, well, it's not going to fix your economy, it's not going to do this, it's not going to do that, it's not going to do that, it's not going to do that. It's more powerful than that. Art is more powerful than anything you will ever do in your life. Physical. Unless that thing is helping someone, like really helping them. You know? Like, art is far more beneficial for this world than it is working your regular cleaner, porter, retail worker. If everybody in this world wrote a poem, I want to hear their voice. I want to hear their voice. I want to listen to the voice. I'm a product who refuses to be a product. But there are people out there who don't. And it's that lad who OD'd on heroin. It's that lass that's having fent on Northumberland Street. It's a complex thing that I don't think people will understand, because the Americans don't get it. Everyone in Europe, this is like, we all have our own things. I'll not get that wrong, right? But you're assuming too much if you're saying, oh, I know what it's like because my people deal with this thing. I need the Geordies to stand the fuck up. And I tell you what happens with the Geordies. I'll tell you exactly what happens. Is they get a little bit of money, and they leave Byker, they leave whatever it is, and they go to some place. They make the house look nice. They get themselves a nice car, and then what they do is they say, ugh, to everyone who's struggling. They're your people. You're no better than them. In fact, you're worse. And that's the God's honest truth. Because you want to climb out of that and look down, you are rotten. By virtue of that, you are rotten. If you let that go, you're cleaning yourself. If all you do when you get out of a situation, or if you're not in a situation that is someone overdosing, if you look at someone overdosing and you look at them negatively, and you don't just see them as weak individuals who need help, you need help, because you're the reason why they are the way they are. You uphold a system that keeps them in that place. You uphold a system that refuses to let them know that they are someone, that they are something. You refuse to let them know that they too are human, and you see them as monster. You see them as rat. There's a reason why we got that term smack rat.
Don't destroy your own culture. Don't destroy your own people. Uphold them. Help them. We're products of Roman colonization. We're products of so many iterations of British empires. So many. And now I'm in a world with an America that does the American things. Now I'm in a world with Europe who does Europe things. Now I'm in a world with all these cultures, right? In Africa that's not even looked at. You know? I'm in a Russia that just seems to be a black dot on the map. A black dot that flames can fly out of any moment. You know? Just like the 80s. Right? 80s is Cuban Missile Crisis? I think so. Don't know. But the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know, we live in a neo-Cuban Missile Crisis. Seriously. It's gonna come in. We live trapped in a world of other people's making. Uphold gods that serve us now. We have new pagan gods. We do. It's called No Face. It's called Nike. Called Adidas. For a while it was called Babe. But Babe didn't have the power of the other gods. Supreme didn't have the power of the other gods. They were too experimental. But the crux of this, the effect of this, is the fact that you can never change, because people live in a culture in which if I tell you to stop wearing no face, I'm taking your identity away. But the hardship in that is to let people realize that your no face was never your identity. It was your face. This and what's in here. But you'll never know. Because you're too connected to that and the bud that comes along with it, and the people that sometimes occasionally offer you one too many, and it eventually gets to something else. Right here. You ready? You ready? You want to do it? Yeah? Alright, we're going to get the vein ready. Somebody pass the needle. Somebody get that cooking. We're going to put it right there. Okay? And we're going to feel good. For a little while. You have a life to live. You have a life to live. You are loved. You are appreciated. You're not just a product. You're a person. You're a person with real emotions, real feelings, a real life with real dreams. I don't give a fuck what your dreams are. If you grew up and you wanted to be a musician because you liked it as a kid, go be a musician. If you fucking loved space as a kid, go be an astronaut. Go do it. Go do it, please. The whole point is to defy the odds, because you're not a drug. You're not the clothes you wear. You're not the food you consume. You're not the building that they force you into. You know, you're such a unique individual person, and that Paul is why I can't live like this. Why I can't live the way you want me to live, because my life's never been about living your way. Because your way is a generation above me, which is bleak, which is grey, which searches for material in replacement of the things that they lost. Because we lost good men. And we were now lost. We have to find ourselves. And a generation of men won't do that. They can't do that. We don't have it today. We don't have the ability. So I don't know what to do. But I'm going to try everything I can to fucking fix it. This woman right here. God bless this woman, but this woman right here, I'd love to meet her, by the way. You don't get, and you know this, so it's okay. You don't get the only right to write this. This belongs to so many other people who need to write poetry, prose, plays, music, paintings, so much. We don't know. We don't know how beautiful our world is. We don't know how beautiful our people are. And all we do is we let it go by so we can watch YouTube and have a quick wank. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I can't live a stupid fucking life where I don't fully appreciate everything we got. Go find your own. I feel like I've said an hour of something without substance. And it's all mumbled thoughts that one has to interpret it, and try to make something of, because you don't know the feelings, you don't even know what the bag of war looks like. Someone's gonna say, I do. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you live in Duns Terrace, you don't know what the war looks like. Funny enough, these people who come from Manus onto Byker on the train don't know the war. Byker Medi ends up cutting off the wall the further you go up Conyers, so you can't see the fucking wall. You see parts. You see parts. You don't see the whole. Look at that wall. Go look at all of it. You want another funny thing? It's not even war. It's wow. It's wow. I'm being psyoped. I'm being taken away from my culture. It's not out, it's oot. It's not stone, it's sten. It's not home, it's yem. I'm being whitewashed. Like every other fucking culture that's being whitewashed. Please understand this, the people of Byker, those people who are there that we look at in today's modern system and just seeing them as right-leaning arseholes who just want to sit there and have they don't understand that even their language is being took out from under them. Their language. I'm not speaking the Queen's English, because the Queen's not my Queen, the King's not my King. Fuck them. You know? You got one of your lads sitting there, fucking 8-year-olds, fucking 12-year-olds. And I have to sit there and speak his English. No. Prince Andrew, not even a prince anymore, getting dicked down in prison by some big brolic fucking lads with a 6-incher. Oot, yem, stien, wow, we. Learn some Geordie. We. That is a me and you. We. It's not we, us, none of that. We. Listen to how fucking beautiful that is. That is true language. That is true culture. We. To do. A verb. To do. D. D.